guitaring. And feel free to ask questions. That's the whole point of this thing. Hopefully we're live. Yeah, it's the Sire, their T thing. Hey Miles, hope you're doing well. Hope your year has been okay, or as good as it can be. Hey Jim. Hey Eric, so is everything sounding okay? Can you hear me over that? Or do I just, if I drop that volume a bit, presumably now you can. I'm trying a new mic. Yeah, I guess you meant Jack Gardner. That's a big compliment, John. Thank you for the kind words. I hope you're doing well. Eric asked what happened to the Revstar. So when I got my Sire, the Les Paul Sire, you know, like the gold top one that you see me play a bit, I kind of decided that I preferred the feel of that to the Revstars. I'm not a massive Les Paul type of player anyway, and the Revstars are definitely Les Paulish. So it made sense to just move that one on. I didn't find that they the voice is quiet compared to usual. Is this preset? Yeah, this is just Eric Lee, Timothy. So it would be there. Let me just... If I turn the voice up like that, presumably that's a bit better, hopefully. Is it possible to get that sound on a Kemper? It is. I have this type of tone on the Kemper as well. Yeah, so it should be. I'm using a shotgun mic today, so hopefully it is a bit better sound than usual. Hopefully, but it may not be. Actually, I may even be able to do a little bit of mixing here. So what do we need? A little bit of low end roll off. Is that better? If I get really close like that, it's probably way better. But that's not really possible. Yeah, that's the thing, Sam. I've also done that. It just misses that. This one of the things that the Quad Cortex and the Kemper can't really quite capture. There's a Dr. Pepper there. On any of my Kemper videos, there'll be like a link. So if you just search Kemper on my channel, you'll be able to find it, hopefully. Didn't Kurt Cobain use a shotgun mic? He may have done, yeah, in a garden shed. Right, does anyone want to talk about anything specific aside from grunge? F1, right, excuse me, right, shall I just choose another backing then? Keep questions coming in if you've got them, I'll try to answer them. Right, let me insert media file. Let's just choose any random backing track from years ago. B flat, this one. This is a backing track. Right, I'll turn the mic down whilst I'm playing though. Play. I'm aware of Robbie Barnaby, yes. sorry about that, Jim. That's one of the side effects. FYI. Miles asks, been playing guitar for 15... Oh, sorry, I better turn the mic back up. Miles asks, been playing guitar for 15 years, but just learning tabs. How do I learn theory? So I would try to get away from the tabs a little bit if possible. I also don't think there's any real way to know what it is that you might need to learn. I was thinking about this earlier today. You know, you could advise someone to learn a load of modes or whatever, but in real life, I think most of the jobs that most of us do with a guitar might not involve that much kind of that sort of stuff. So for me, I feel like learning something that might be useful for someone else when you're a guitarist, it might be worth doing for a lot of us, you know, like, so the way that I actually get paid to play guitar most of the time these days would be in a function band, if you know what I mean. So like, as fun as learning bits and pieces, or as perceived as being important it might be to learn legato or the melodic minor scale, all this sort of stuff, I actually don't think it matters as much as trying to make yourself useful as a guitarist, in terms of having a fulfilled musical life and stuff. Does that make any sense? So maybe just learn some songs and try and learn those kind of musical skills, some of which might involve modes depending on the type of music you're playing and stuff, but learning actual songs and material is more of the kind of thing that I think is useful. And the more you do that as well, if you're involved with function cover bands and stuff like that, oftentimes there aren't really tabs for that sort of stuff, so you kind of have to learn to rely on your ear for learning tunes. But if you're starting to ask the question, then that's a good sign, I think. The major scale and the pentatonic scale will get you through most situations as a working guitarist. You know, you don't have to be Tom Quayle to get a job playing guitar, if that makes sense. Or, you know, you have fun playing guitar and all that sort of stuff. Does that make any sense at all? Probably not. And then the other thing is, you know, you don't have to have everything sorted. In fact, I think that's a kind of a bit of a misrepresentation of stuff. You know, like guitar and music in general is more of an ongoing journey than a thing where you go, okay, I need to learn this thing and now I've learned that thing, if that makes sense. So it's more about just trying to put yourself on that path of learning bits and pieces, and starting with tab is not a bad thing at all. Yeah. But yeah, maybe start with like, what is your goal? What is it that you're trying to achieve? Is that getting up and playing at a jam or something like that? Is it going to an open mic night? Is it being able to play a certain Dream Theater song? Is it, have some sort of idea of where it is that you're trying to get to, and that can help solve some problems. And then the other thing that will happen is maybe life might throw some other opportunities your way where you'll need to learn some other bits and pieces. So, for instance, in 2015 or whatever, when I started playing music live, the thing that then became most important was, can you learn sort of 25, 30 songs and play them on stage? That is then actually what becomes the job of a guitarist. Chimoid. Right, anyway, any other questions, feel free to chuck them. So what I tried to kind of share on my channel was kind of my thoughts on some of this stuff. And, if you're specifically looking at trying to do some of the things that it is that I do, which I'm not suggesting that you should want to do, but, if you happen to be one of those people, then that's why I started doing a little bit of kind of teaching-y stuff. If that makes sense. Probably doesn't. What I was thinking of doing, where is it? We'll just try this. So this is the example of the kind of jam type thing that you might have. NAMM 2022. No, I have not, Tim. Right, Sam, see you in a bit. Is Timothy, but it's not actually a negative, as I found out. I had that same thought. Yeah, it's a side T7. Bassist one. Yeah, it is a Sire T7. So I've had a question there from Nicky Woolley. Are a lot of your subscribers on YouTube from performing live? No, the subscribers on YouTube only come, from posting on YouTube. This is a thing that I sort of noticed from social media stuff. So I had like a few subscribers or followers on Instagram before I started seriously doing the YouTube thing. And yeah, it seems like it's the same neck Turbo Esprit. What was I saying? Yeah, it seems like they don't actually transfer across. And you might notice this when you see some people like launch an album or something that are kind of YouTubey. It doesn't always seem to do especially well. I don't know whether that's attention or whatever, or budget for PR that a lot of other people do, that aren't YouTubers. But anyway, so yeah, the live stuff is generally the sorts of gigs that all of us probably do. You know, nothing particularly exciting, you know, just fun gigs. Sometimes, like on Friday, I was playing like an instrumental funk fusion set with a couple of guys from around here. The Saturday before that, I had 2 wedding gigs, you know, so an acoustic set in the day and then a normal kind of function set in the night. The sort of stuff that I think most of us gigging musicians that aren't kind of touring, or even if they are touring, when they're not touring, it's the sort of thing that people do, but I don't really think it's the sort of thing that people talk about massively. But it's also the sort of thing that I think most musicians have in common, you know, where you're playing, you know, shows that you are not like what you have dreamed about as a kid. Do you know what I mean? But it's still really fun for me to actually just play music live with different people. Even if it's not my own material or anything, it doesn't really bother me at all. So yeah, Nick, the subscribers on YouTube are not from that. Definitely not. It's just from posting on YouTube over and over again every day. You'll see there's lots of channels that grow way better than mine has, but I can do what I can do. Highlight. So yeah, this is the Sire Telecaster. I just wanted to give it a little play. Really impressed with it, actually. Obviously, I wasn't expecting to be disappointed, but yeah, really, really, really good guitar, I think, for the money. But you know that I quite like Sire guitars anyway, so you're probably not surprised to hear me say that. Any questions about anything? I'll have another go on that one. Yeah, if you've got any other questions, Nikki, feel free to ask them. I don't know about the routing, Ed. Right, hold on. So I've got 2 questions there. So Stratton Sound first, I just want to answer that one because it's quite an easy one. So he's asked, I'm curious how you would go about finding people to gig with if you just moved to a new place. And the answer for me has been, you need to basically try and find local jams or open mic nights. And some of those might not really be your scene, but just get involved. And try and meet people. I guess the other way is you can maybe find people online. If you kind of, I think there might be like local Facebook groups and stuff where they talk about things that are going on. Go to kind of local pub gigs and stuff. I think those are pieces of advice that I suggest, which I think have worked for me. I didn't really start playing guitar live until I'd started to do that kind of thing. I'm using the Dorian scale. Let me find a video for you on that front. I did this little video on Dorian, just explaining those sounds and stuff. Yeah, so as John Adams here has just said, networking is kind of the key to meeting new people, and it's a word for a thing which just get out and try and be social, I think, is my advice. If you're wanting to meet people that want to do stuff with bands and that. I have grown, John. That's what I've been working on over the last few days. Yeah, just go out, meet people, speak to people, and try not to be too enthusiastic in a way. Just try and be a bit cool. I guess it's similar to sort of like trying to meet a woman. You don't want to overdo it. I have had my head removed. That's one of the other things I've been working on. The roasted maple, John. Don't know that it feels terribly different. Hey, John March. Someone mentioned you earlier. Doesn't feel hugely different. I think it's more to do with it being a satin finish. The neck profile compared to an AZ neck, quite similar, I think. Maybe a bit less of a full C. How do you make arpeggios melodic? I think that's the challenge. Hey again, I think the goal with the arpeggio stuff is not to make everything super arpeggiated, if you know what I mean. You don't just want to play strings of arpeggios, but if you can do... you can fit arpeggios into stuff, but you don't want to make everything... If you're doing like a section of a solo or a section of improv, don't do, too many arpeggios together, if that makes sense. Then it's going to sound not very melodic. Whereas if it's just an arpeggio as part of a longer phrase, then it kind of can sound melodic. The other thing that I like to do arpeggio-wise would be to add in the 9. Like that. So if I was playing a C major arpeggio, C, D, E, G, B, D, C. Right, now John Siggers asked, my style, how did I develop it? So I think the only real way to answer that is kind of through song. No, through kind of influences and stuff. So I started off playing, this video was brought to you by Steinberger as well, John. They actually paid for this video. It's kind of an ongoing thing I've got going on. Gradually it's going to build off to a big payoff where I give away 16 Steinberger guitars. My style, so the answer has to really go through musical history. So when I was 5, I think I started playing piano. And when I was 8, I got my first guitar for a birthday, and I grew up kind of playing church music. And Thin Lizzy was the first band where I started listening to their stuff and playing it back with a cassette player. After that, it went to kind of Iron Maiden and heavier stuff. Then Dream Theater, and then from there kind of into the other kind of more jazzy-ish, fusionist-ish type of stuff, as well as a lot of pop and the stuff that I have to play for gigs, and a bit of jazz. That's kind of what... Oh, and some R&B in there as well. I was a big fan of Tank as well. But, yeah. So those are the bits and pieces that put together my musical identity, I think. If that answers your question at all. Hopefully it sort of does a little bit. Tim, so the issue for me with the ducks is that I've moved slightly further away from them now, so I no longer spend as much time with the ducks, which I know Jim is devastated about. I'm able to play through chord changes, etc. just fine, but my playing is still very scale-like or arpeggio-like. Is there a good way of breaking out of that and getting more creative with notes? Yes, probably. Yes. So I'd like, if you're trying to be melodic, the thing that I advise is to try and play melodies. So instead of spending loads of time playing through changes or whatever, it might do you just as good to learn a lot of different melodies. So, you know, learning a jazz tune every week, a big part of that for me was to learn the jazz, the head. I've got something like and you find that they have melodicness. Anyway, I can't play today. Right, could you take a 1, 6, 5, 6? What's it like? Oh wait, a 1, 6, 5, 4. Are the pickups voiced any different on the new sires? I don't really know. The vintage ones presumably are different pickups in general, you'd hope, to the other ones. So I wouldn't be thinking at all of chords or arpeggios for that kind of progression. So let me just explain. Because you're not really doing anything, and yeah, that's not like a jazz progression anyway. Got something that vaguely fits the bill for that actually, so I'll just play along with this. Oops, insert media file. Where are you? Where is it? Here we go. So we'll take something like this. Favorite chord subs. We'll come back to that. So for most of this, I'm just going to be thinking of trying to play a melody in A. Is there actually latency? I might be able to fix that if I go to here. You're saying the offset the media by let me know if this gets better. Let me know if that gets better or not, John. So if the thing is staying in the same key the whole time, I'm only thinking of like actual melody, the lag is worse. Okay, then I must go the other way. Let's try that. Right, okay, so now I'll need to just edit that back a bit. Let's try that. Maybe now we're better. Let's just keep going, hopefully we'll get... This better? Video is still ahead. Right, we're getting closer, are we? Move it to 10 milliseconds. See, I have this tip for you because it's based on this preset here. So Vox tones for Helix. So hopefully that should get you in the ballpark of this tone, because that video is literally based on these. Oh, it's gone worse again, has it? In theory it should have got closer again, but I don't know. Video like 1 second ahead of sound. Right, so I have to go back the other way then. Is this getting better or not? Vark Tech. Keep giving me feedback, I can try and improve the sync. John Herald there with the helpful play on words. I've not really played a Charvel Pro mod. I think they're quite well built guitars, and there's a lot of people who are fans of them. I don't know what's happening with it. Clap. I definitely prefer single coils. Right, let me... You're saying that the... so the sync offset are set back by like 100 milliseconds. So this should be fairly extreme. Try now. See, is this better or worse, Jake? Favourite substitutions, One that I really like, so if I was playing something in B flat major, instead of the F7 or like the chord 5, I like that A flat. Alright, here's a clap. So that's 100 milliseconds offset. Is my coffee donation option turned on? Where is that? Buy me a coffee is around, I think. Okay, I'll try that 150, John. I hope this is helping a bit. Otherwise it's quite a frustrating experience for most of you guys, I'd imagine. Right, there's another clap. 'Keep clapping. Yeah, it's exciting stuff, isn't it? 500 milliseconds. Right. Let's see what happens. Minus 5. I guess it looks like a big number, but it's not actually that big, is it? I'm not sure how we can contribute to the coffee. Crank 6. Stop turning my lights on and off. That's excellent. 'em. My friend Joanne Lauer on the channel has a jet guitar. So I've been watching some of his videos and hearing his thoughts. He really likes them. Audio is still late by 5 to 7 frames. These other people are saying so we saying 1,000 milliseconds? Let's try that. That'd be a full second, would it? Maybe 909. I think that's as far as I can go. It's 950 milliseconds. So Jeff is not seeing any delay on his end, so we may be getting other issues. Is that better? Is that working? Right. What does anyone else want to talk about? Tim, I wouldn't be able to confirm or deny any of that stuff anyway at this stage now, because I way off. Was better at 500. Who knows? Right, I'm going to leave it at 500 and see. So this may be the sort of thing that I can't actually help with, because there's probably other things going on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which do I think is the most versatile out of the Sire 7, T7 or L7? I'd say the S7, especially if you're moving from a Strat. I would say the S7. But, you know, go to a guitar shop and try some. Oh, cheers, John. All right, is this okay now? Does anyone want to talk about anything other than this sync? We're back at 500 milliseconds now, so hopefully that's... So we're back in the sync. I've plugged the sync, right? Hey Jeff, I've never actually tried the Schecter stuff, but John, you started 525. Nick has a good question. Why did Gibson stop making the ES175? No, it's just talking to you, Tim. That's the only good part of it. 525. Right, I'll try it, but I don't think that will be a big difference. I'll try 550 for you. See if that does anything. Do I prefer the S7 or the AZES? So I think the S7 is quite a big step up compared to that guitar. It's not that the AZES isn't pretty cool, but it's quite a lot cooler. Does it sound like a decent telly? I don't know. It's up for you to judge, isn't it? Yeah, so I don't know, some of you guys might be able to help you give your thoughts on this sort of stuff. So obviously, before I knew any of the people at Sire, I liked the Sire guitars. And because I'd said on YouTube that I like Sire guitars, it's more likely that they would send me this sort of thing. You may have seen that I did a review of the S7 Vintage. Now, they sent me one of those, but I also bought one at the same time. And the one that I bought, I'm going to send back because of that E-slippage issue. But in terms of like honest reviews and stuff, I felt like I had to kind of say something slightly negative about that guitar, which is obviously not going to be great for my YouTube career going forward. So I don't know about your thoughts on that sort of stuff, or what you want from a review. Just, do I carry on doing the same thing where I'm playing the guitar, giving honest thoughts on it, or what? Well, you know, any piece of gear really. I'm pretty sure that Jake has sent me some Patrick Droney tunes. Is that right, Jake? Catch you in a little bit, John. I haven't tried full cable method yet. I need to do that. Sean, I have a Sire Marcus Miller bass and it's incredible value for the money. Yeah, I've got a Sire. That was the first thing that I bought from Sire. And then, because I saw a load of different reviews of it, like people, obviously like Andertons and stuff, are going to say most of their gear reviews are fairly positive. So I bought a Sire just to see if it was the sort of thing that was actually presenting value for money, and I decided that yes, it was the Sire S7. So technically, Anton, that the video that I'm doing with the Sire T7 or the S7 is technically paid promotion because they've sent me those guitars for free. But I do say that in the video anyway. But in terms of, if someone sends you a guitar and then you, or not even sends you, if you buy a guitar from that manufacturer as well and you don't have as positive experiences with it, that's the difficult one, because it's like, well, yeah. Have you missed the review of this telly? I think I put it up today, Sam. I just played it for the first time today. Yeah, I do try to be honest in the videos and stuff. It's like the Simplifier review I did, the manufacturers of that told me that I didn't really know what I was talking about. That wasn't particularly fun. I haven't tried the T7 with two humbuckers because I'm kind of a single coil guy. That was the least interesting out of them, even though they look really pretty to me. I'm not really a humbucker person. The other thing was, I have said I've done some other videos about the treble bleeds on the Sire guitars, and those weren't exactly positive videos, I guess, but as a result of putting those out, I think Sire actually did make changes to their treble bleed circuit, so that was a thing that I ended up feeling okay about because that change was made. And so maybe the thing, like, I've sort of been semi kind of saying that I think some of the frets are rolled off a little bit too much, so you end up with a little bit less kind of fret than you would if you hadn't rolled it off so steeply, or as steeply, you know. It's not necessarily super extreme, but I've said that as well to Sire, so hopefully that then ends up being a guitar which is better for people on the other end as well, rather than it just being a situation where I say something and then nothing changed. I think they changed the treble bleed, Sam, rather than got rid of it. I'm not sure exactly, but I did get an email from Kyle from Sire just saying we've changed the treble bleed now from the factory. I do think they do make some lovely guitars, though. I think the other thing is when a guitar shipping from the east, sometimes the necks can settle and stuff. So that was a thing that I had tried before I made that video to rectify with that particular guitar. It wasn't like it, you could see in the video, it's not like I couldn't play the guitar. 2 Minutes to Midnight is the one for me, Tim. But it was just something that I felt like I should probably mention this in the video if I'm going to be really honest about stuff. And, you know, if I put honest review in the title, then I better say what I'm actually thinking. How do you think about a Telecaster that has a splittable neck humbucker? I think it's an idea that could potentially be a bit more whatchamacallit. So John, it could be more versatile. John asks, I wonder if the guitars they send to content creators have gone through better QC than the ones in shops going to normal customers. So I've bought the Sire S7, the white one, the first one that I tried, and the Larry Carlton L7, so that's the Les Paul one. I bought those from Anderton's. They sent me an H7, which I didn't really get on with because of the body shape. Then I bought the Sire S7 Vintage, and that one was the one that the frets are quite rolled off, and I felt like I should mention it. But the ones that they kind of gifted to me also came from Anderton's anyway. So in terms of quality as well, they're all super well made and put together. It's just I feel like there's someone on the factory floor with a fret file that maybe could have a chat with, or you know, there's just something, maybe you don't roll those fret ends off quite as much, you know, or be a bit less vigorous with the polish, maybe, I don't know. I don't make guitars, it's only a little small thing. But the E-slippage is 100% a thing that I read about on lots of different people's, like if you Google it, E-string slipping off, it's kind of a thing. And you didn't notice that it's happening whilst I was playing the guitar. How good is the Sire compared to a Fender Tele? So, Thomas, it's a good question, but I think also which Fender Tele would be the question that I would ask. Because there's a million types of Fender Tele. This to me feels sort of more like a Sire kind of Telecaster. I think that's more what they were going for, you know, with the roasted maple and the neck access thing. And also it's got compensated saddles, which is more of a Sir kind of thing. I've played Fender custom shop tellies, which I didn't like as much as this, to be honest. But I've also got a Fender Vintage Hot Rod Nashville Telecaster over there in the cupboard, which I really like. It's one of my favourite Telecasters. How does it compare to the Player Series? I have not actually played a Player Series, so this is the other thing with kind of reviews and doing kind of these videos. First of all, you don't know if the one guitar that you've got might be kind of a one-off, so you're really only commenting on one guitar, and you know, if they're churning out as many guitars as Fender do, then I've got really no idea what my experience of the guitar might be like compared to someone else's. The Fender Player Series, I believe that's the Mexican built stuff, isn't it? I felt the edge of Fender Vinteras and the fret job on those has not been particularly impressive, and I've noticed that the wood looks quite dry on every single one of those that I've seen in the shop, to the point where I wouldn't particularly pick it up and play it. Vintera that's a step above player, isn't it? This to me feels like a more premium guitar than the Vinteras that I've seen in shops or played. So John Adams says, forget all the guitar stuff. When did you get your first dog? So I actually married into the dog thing. So when I was living on a farm with my parents, we had Springer Spaniels growing up. So the first one, when I was born, she was already around, was called Sarah. And then she had a daughter who was called Lou, which is the first bit of your name. And then Sarah died when I was quite young, I think. And Lou we moved to Devon, and we also bought a dog there called Jess, who was a Springer Spaniel as well. She had puppies, and one of them was called Ellie. We kept Ellie, and Ellie and Jess started killing badgers, so we rehomed Ellie to my auntie, and she had one of the puppies called Harry. Harry and Ellie then started killing badgers in Taunton, so I think she ended up getting rid of both of those. But that was the dogs that we had as kids. Then when I met Liana, she had Elsa, Ruben and Prada. And yeah, then we got Dee Dee, who was a rescue. Then we got Evie, who came from Russia, who was also sort of like semi-a-rescue. Then Evie had puppies, Fenton and Eva, and also Teddy. Teddy lives with the maid of honor for the wedding. Then, what else happened? Fenton and Elsa mated when Fenton was like less than a year old, but that didn't matter because they're not related. And then Chip, Nemo and Darcy were born. And then after that, so then Nemo lives with us because he only has 3. My first dog had terrible QC. Nemo only has 3 legs, so he wouldn't have left the factory. But we kept him and kept him alive because he's quite good fun. And then Lenny bought Norma from Russia. So we have like 7 3/4 dogs now. And then Darcy and Chip live with friends of ours. Anton has a Player Series Baja Tele. So that Player Series, I've played a Baja. I quite liked it. I think they're really pretty decent guitars. I think I played 2 of them, but I never ended up keeping them. I didn't know if they were okay. Maybe I did have a Avery Tele 52 that was really nice in a lot of ways, but had quite a sticky neck, so I didn't end up keeping that. So that's how your brother had chickens. I don't follow. Insert media file. What should we try? What's this one? Right. Any other questions about stuff? Wonder if roasting isn't hiding imperfections in the neck wood. Apparently Sai uses some coloration of the HS7 ebony neck to make it look nicer, and the new ones leave marks on your fingers. Not sure about that. The thing is, roasting doesn't particularly get rid of imperfections. You still see it. And to me, I think I've shown the wood in like the videos. It's really pretty nice. Really nice grain and stuff. But maybe it makes wood that wouldn't otherwise be as stable. So it might be. So here's a thought though. My glasses are short-sighted. Or I'm short-sighted, I should say. So these are for like driving or reading comments from people from Denmark. What was I saying? So here's the thinking, like you might right, the video, yeah, Joe has chickens. So what I'm thinking is, if you roast maple, maybe that's a way of getting it ready to be put on a guitar quicker than if you didn't. Does that make sense? So if you just had maple that had to be like dried, however they dry maple and make it so that it's stable, maybe roasting maple is a way to get that ready to be put on a guitar and stable quicker than if you don't, as well as being kind of fashionable to look at the moment. Could that be a thing? Liam asks, slightly unrelated question, but how did you come to acquire your K-line? So the blue one, I was at the time looking for like a Fender custom shop, and the blue K-line was on a forum, and it was up for like £800, and I kind of didn't like the headstock particularly, and I didn't know if I loved the colour, but it was £800, so I thought I'll take a punt on this, and it's the best guitar I've ever played, so that's kind of cool. So Tim says the concept is that when you bake it, the sugars harden, making the wood stronger and more durable. Yeah, but the question is, Tim, would that be a quicker process than just waiting for the maple to dry naturally or kiln dry? Could that be a reason that it's more fashionable? Is it because it's an easier way to get stable maple quicker than if you were to like pick kiln dried or whatever? I don't know. Could that be a thing? Yamaha THR2 or Boss Katana? I've not played the Boss stuff. I do hear good things. Yeah, so like if you were a guitar company making guitars, you had the decision to make, right, we need to buy a load of maple, and you knew that you could get kind of maple that's like slightly less mature, right, and wasn't dried yet or whatever it is, and then you could go through the process of treating that or roasting it, then in theory that might be a quicker way to get stable wood or something. I don't know. Could that be viable? Liam, yeah, it was a pretty decent deal. I think the radius on it is 10 inches. The radius on the blue one. I think it's the radius on all of mine, actually. Anyway, that's my little conspiracy theory as to why we might end up with more roasted maple on guitars, even if they're cheaper guitars. Like, the Jet stuff is all roasted now as well, right? Please feel free to ask questions. Right, so a couple of questions here. Mark says, how long would you say it takes to develop speed and an ear for hearing chord progressions? I don't know. I think both of those things probably have a genetic element to them. And so some people might get very fast quite quick, if that's your main goal. In terms of how to develop speed, then I think the things you should be working on to start with would be just those things like literally just moving your fingers fast. So for me, that was just running through scales as fast as I could, and just working on sheer speed alone probably is an element that is required. I think at some point you have to just start trying to move your fingers fast. I don't know how long. That's going to be different for everyone, isn't it? Like some people can run very fast and some people can't. It's kind of a thing. And same for hearing chord progressions. But I think the thing is to start trying to hear them. So, for instance, I can tell kind of chord movements like this. And Sam suggests ear training apps, which I don't disagree with. They can be very useful. But also I think learning from simple pop tunes. You know, maybe you stick on an Ed Sheeran tune or like an Oasis tune and listen for the first note and work out what key you're in. You know, so you know if it's A team, it's A, and you listen to that tune. And just listen without a guitar in your hand and trying to hear the changes. And hopefully you can get better at that sort of thing quite quickly if you're actually doing it in a sensible way. So I think my chord hearing stuff comes from the super chat function. Should be there, shouldn't it? Should be on. I don't know if you want to do that. There are people though that have played super fast without necessarily kind of the most tidy technique. I think it's possible to play fast enough without having crazy whatchamacallit? Where is super chat? Supers. Oh, you found it. Oh, sorry. Oh, thank you, Yancho. Get on, Jake. Go and learn some tunes. So yeah, I would listen specifically to simple-ish pop tunes. You know, pick something like what's the tune? But it's a thing you can do. You don't even have to really be at a guitar. So you could be in the car, for instance, and instead of just thinking about whether something's an A or a D or whatever, if you don't have a thing to give you a reference note, you can just be listening for chords 1, 4, and 5, for instance. So you start off with simple stuff. So 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 4, 5, 4, 1. You might be able to do that as it is. I think some people struggle with this sort of stuff, and some people find it easy. There's like a whole genetic component to that as well. So kind of just listen to start with, and see if you can do that sort of thing. So, for instance, if I do this now, if you have, so you need to kind of have the framework for it. So you have like chord 1, chord 2, chord 3, chord 4, chord 5, chord 6, and that should get you through being able to analyze kind of a lot of pop tunes. So be listening for 1, kind of 3, 4, 6, 5, 2, 4, that's kind of the sort of thing that goes on in the back of my head for everything. No, that was arranged on the fly, Matt. To recommend any particular book for alt chord positions? Absolutely not. So the way that I would start trying to do this, I talk about this on the channel quite a bit, is just start with one thing at a time, and I think you can get a lot out of that. So for instance, you know, there's Ted Green chord chemistry books and this sort of thing, but for me personally, my way of learning whatever, it's not really been possible to kind of get too much out of that. Whereas if I take kind of just one Eric Johnson chord or something like that, just focus on really little things, that kind of can be a good way to get new chords into your playing. Or maybe like a simple kind of jazz book. Is it Jodie Fisher type stuff? Or no, maybe Jodie Fisher, the Hal Leonard kind of stuff, can be kind of useful. The difficulty with some of the jazz stuff is that they come up with these chord melodies which are might not be that easy to play. Can I play Versace on the Floor synth solo? I don't know that song. Let me try and find. What are the lyrics? No. Not Bruno Mars tune that I've heard much of. Hey Mark, how you doing? Yes, the side telly I'm very impressed with. And then you could take something like this and you could say, right, I've got a simple task of trying to play the pre-chorus of Get Lucky in a few places on the fretboard. So sorry. Right, let me concentrate. So there's one. Right, and then we can start up here. And then what could we do? Maybe up here somewhere. Yeah, I think they're the same price as the S7, David. Glad to hear that you got on with your S7. Cheers, Sam. Thank you so much for the old coffee. I hope you're doing well. Is there any football on tonight? Right, any other questions about anything? This particular setting is on an HX Stomp. Who asked? Joanna. All I'm using here is a reverb and like a Vox AC15 with OCD in front. Yes, I'm changing roots. So the first thing you're doing is they're moving around here. So they're moving around the fretboard, but the actual root is staying roughly the same. This is a Sire Telecaster Big Boy. Yeah, I'm not doing inversions or anything because it's a bit difficult. I want to keep the bass note generally to be the actual root of the chord for this kind of thing to work. Oh, cheers, Joey. Yeah, I think that's a great way to do it, Liam. No, this is exactly as it came out of the box. Me, that's who. And that video that you saw earlier on today, potentially, would have been, I've just tuned the guitar and played it, basically. I think there is some value in doing that, because obviously not everything is going to play well out of the box. David asked, do I have a practice routine every day, or do you just play on what you feel like that day? That's, more the story, David, for me these days. I mean, quite a lot of what I do these days is just improvised anyway. If I've got a gig to plan for or play for, then that kind of takes up the practice routine for that week. Generally, I might have a few different songs or a whole set list to learn. So that becomes kind of the focus. Technique-wise and stuff, I might practice the thing that I'm going to be teaching on the Monday. So I normally get maybe like 20-30 minutes to try and get that as a thing that I can actually play. So what was it like? What was that? I think Simon Pegg moved. Can't play that anymore, clearly. I use a Power Cab Live. Or like, is it night where I am? It's 7 o'clock where I am at, Big Boy. Well, I practiced this a bit this week. The 1x12. Cheers, Paramedic Pete. It's Randy Newman's Feels Like Home, Paramedic Pete. Just played badly. I'm using the Glitz reverb on the HX Stomp. It's nothing particularly posh. Right, I'm just going to tune again. This guitar is holding its tune quite well, which is a good thing. One of the issues with some cheaper guitars, well, not just cheaper guitars, but some guitars in general, but especially more cheaper guitars, is you sometimes find they don't stay in tune particularly well. This one is, so that's a plus. What else have we got? We've got a trim. Yes. Hey David, I've not tried the Reverend Tellies. I've not tried a Reverend anything actually, but they do look quite well made. The Randy Newman version, obviously, Mark. I'd go for the HX Stomp because I have one and use it every day. I've not tried the Ampero 2, so I can't comment on it really. I've tried the first Ampero, which is also fine. And a lot of people really like it, so that's good. Yuan Chao, would you say that the Sire is as good as the Reverend? Is it in that same kind of ballpark for quality? I think that'd be interesting for people to know if you've got an opinion on that. Where are the Reverends made? Are they Indonesian as well? So Mark, the first version that I heard was the Randy Newman version, and for the wedding that we played the other day, there was a version by someone who I presume is like Polish. I don't remember exactly the name, but it's one of the more popular ones on YouTube, and it annoyed me because the melody was sung differently, consistently, not how the actual melody goes. So that kind of thing kind of irritates me. And I think there is something a little bit magical about Randy Newman's actual voice. It's got like a really beautiful nostalgia to it, and also like a bit of sadness, as well as lightness. It's got kind of everything. It's a 5-1, 1-5-1-5, 4-1, and then the chorus or pre-chorus goes to 3-4, 5 relative minor, 6-4, 1-5. Then that chord, which is like a 1-7, 4, 5, 1 in second version, 3, 6, 4, 5, and then it goes 1, 5, and then to 4, 6, that's 2 major to 5, to 1, root to 5, 4, cool. Ampero World, a YouTube channel solely dedicated to Ampero 2. Sounds like you're a fan of the Ampero 2 then. Oh, cheers, Pete. Any other questions about anything? Or anything you want me to try to play badly? I guess the other thing to be slightly concerned about with some of this stuff is, are these guitars made in places where the people that are making them are treated particularly well or not? I think that does kind of start to factor into decision making. I think you inferred earlier, do you usually learn to play a song in multiple areas of the neck? No, but I think it's a good exercise to do it. So most of the time when you hear me playing something, I've not really planned anything particularly. It's just sort of, I can kind of do it as I've done it. So if I play I Fall in Love Too Easily, I should be able to, hopefully, play it in a few different places. So you could just take that small section of a song and take that as the exercise. You know, some things you can probably only play in that way in like 2 places, but you could try and do something way outside the box. You know, that sort of thing. Sold me it had more dynamic range and Celestian IRs. Cool. Be interesting to see some more kind of videos when people start to get their hands on them a bit more, because they've only really just started to hit the shops, right? Forgive me for not knowing, but do you demo gear on this channel. Yeah, I think that's where most people end up finding the stuff from. So for instance, a lot of what I do is kind of demo the Helix stuff and try and help people get some cool tones out of it. But here's a demo of this Sire Telly. You know, there's loads of stuff on the channel if you're into guitar gear, hopefully. But the other thing to think about doing, Liam, is try and play things in different... Yeah, you're in between guitar and face. I think there's a mic if I go a bit lower though. Cheers though, Joey. If you go... Try playing a thing in a few different keys as well, or, you know, one other key maybe to start with. So if I'm playing I Fall in Love Too Easily there in D major effectively. Let's just try and do it in, I don't know, G major. Then what we... Right, if anyone's got one more question, I'll answer that or try to. Thank you everyone for stopping by. If you haven't liked the video already, that might help other people find this sort of thing. If you think this is the sort of thing that other people want to find or that you would like to find again. Just sitting and talking about guitar stuff, I guess. And also if you've, I don't know, if you haven't already subscribed, you could consider doing that, but by all means, don't feel that you have to. I just wanted to spend some time chatting on here. Yeah, that's the issue, Yuan Chao. So I think the take the strings off the guitar. It sounds to me like an outside the box kind of practice idea, Thomas. Yeah, changing wirings, pots and caps and stuff. All the stuff with pedal boards as well, I feel like it can be a little bit of a distraction. And also I think it sort of fulfills part of the role, you know, like as kids you might have played with Lego or things like that. I feel like some of those elements can carry on into our adult life, and you have like projects that you like to work on, whether it's a pedal board or, you know, building bikes and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Like maybe there's some element of, you know, working on soldering different parts of the guitar together that can fulfill that kind of thing. I think that can be a bit of a distraction, but also, you know, life is somewhat about distraction anyway, isn't it? Matt asks, do I schedule the Sunday stream or is it just whenever? It's sort of whenever, because, you know, Lenny might have a dog walk or whatever, so it's a bit tricky sometimes to fit it in or know exactly when it's going to be ahead of time. Reader Ben asks, are all Sire models this good? I don't know. This one's good. I think I said in the video I might have tried 6, and out of them 4 I really liked. And I think they're incredible guitars. I don't know if that kind of ratio is to me, I think that sounds better than some much more expensive manufacturers that I've heard stories about. Any opinion on 7-inch radius necks? I quite like them. So that Tokai, the blue Tokai that I was playing like a week ago, that one was 7.25-inch radius. I think those are kind of cool. It's a vintage style. That some things feel better. Thomas Garsai says, take the batteries out of the pedals, close your eyes, feel the shape of the pedals, truly understand their presence. It's good. Sorry. Shorter scale fretboard, so I think like the PRS is slightly shorter scale, and the the Ibanez AZ Essential is slightly shorter scale. I don't think I particularly noticed that so much. I think the only time that I really end up noticing it is with bends. Did you make or buy your HX Stomp stand? No, it was bought for me by James at Home at Tone, to say thank you for doing a video for him. It's made by a guy called Marcus Deluxe. Oh, cheers, David. Thank you. Thank you for the kind wishes. Things are going okay at the moment. Lenny's had a bit of a busy time of year. Yeah, Tokai do make really incredible guitars. Certainly the Japanese stuff I was really enjoying. Do I have a preference of radius? I think on the K-lines the 10 inches seems to work quite well. The size of 9.5, that also seems to work quite well. The vintage radius kind of is a thing. I don't know that I'd want it on all of them. I had an 80s Gold Star for a while. No, I don't play the Rev Stars anymore. I sold both of those when I got the Sire L7. I think I should probably wrap this up now because it's been going an hour and a half. Probably a bit longer than that. But thank you everyone for stopping by. I'll catch you in another video soon. Lick video some point tomorrow. Right, cheers then.